Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Where did we stop in the last class? Till where did we take? What is the next topic which has to be discussed? Yes, good evening. Anti-tank missiles. Fine. Okay, got it. Video is stuck. And I think it is working fine. Any issues? Anybody else? Video? There's a lag. Video is lagging. Sir, can you please check? Yes, I'll ask. Sir, whosoever is there from Chennai, can you please check or reconnect once again if the video is lagging? Audio video fine now? Is it okay? Okay, fine. So we will start today's session from the anti-tank missiles. So we had already discussed in the IC Integrated Guided Missile Development Program IGMDP regarding an indigenous anti-tank missile India developed called NAG. So first we will discuss about NAG, which is an indigenous anti-tank missile we developed. This is an indigenous anti-tank missile India developed. NAG. So it is a short range anti-tank missile. NAG is a short range anti-tank missile. Short range anti-tank missile. It is beyond visual range. Beyond visual range missile. What is beyond visual range? Smokeless propellant. We have discussed it. Smokeless propellant is beyond visual range. Then it is fire and forget type. Fire and forget type missile, that is LOBL. Lock on before launch. Fire and forget type. And then there are three variants of NAG: the land version, the naval version, and the air force version. So the land version is called Namika. Namika is the land version of NAG. The land version of NAG is called Namika. And the air version of NAG is called Helena. The air version is called Helena. It is normally fired from a helicopter called Dhruv. So Dhruv is the helicopter from which we fire Helena. Helena is the air version of Nag. And the naval version of Nag is called Naman. The naval version of Nag is called Naman. The naval version of Nag is called Naman, which is fired from INS Vikramaditya. Which is fired from INS Vikramaditya, which is an aircraft carrier of India. Which is an aircraft carrier of India. Which is aircraft carrier of India. So we'll discuss aircraft carrier later also, but still aircraft carrier is a ship where aircraft can land and take off. This is called aircraft carrier. Aircraft can land and take off in an aircraft carrier. So INS Vikramaditya is an aircraft carrier of India. So Naman is basically launched from INS Vikramaditya. So these are the three variants of Nag. So Nag is a short range missile, anti-tank missile, beyond visual range missile, and it is a LOBL, lock on before launch. Now in addition to Nag, we have two more type of anti-tank missiles which are basically Israeli missiles. So first one is called Spike. Spike. So Spike is an Israeli missile. It is developed by Israel. It is short range anti-tank missile. And it is a centroidal missile. Or it has blending aeronautical design. It is a centroidal missile or it has blending aeronautical design. So what is the meaning of a centroidal missile is its trajectory or its pathway will be a combination of ballistic and cruise. So the ascending phase of this missile will be ballistic and after that it will turn cruise. So this is the meaning of blending aeronautical design or what we say centroidal missile. So it is centroidal missile or blending aeronautical design where the missile pathway is a combination of ballistic and cruise missiles. Missile pathway is a combination of ballistic and cruise missiles. The ascending phase is ballistic. And the second phase is cruise. The ascending phase is ballistic and the second phase is cruise. We have one more anti-tank missile called Amokha. Amokha, which is also an Israeli missile. And a centroidal missile. Amokha is also an Israeli missile and a centroidal missile. So both Spike and Amokha is developed under Make in India initiative. India is making both of them under Make in India initiative. Both are Israeli missiles, but we are making them under Make in India initiative. Both Amokha and so this is the anti-tank missile Nag we are having. This is the anti-tank missile. So just you can see that tank is getting destroyed. So next is cruise missiles. Next is cruise missiles. First is BrahMos. First is BrahMos. So we had already discussed some points about BrahMos. BrahMos is a joint development of India and Russia. BrahMos, joint development of India and Russia. And it is the fastest supersonic cruise missile in the world. Fastest supersonic cruise missile in the world with a Mach of 2.8. Mach of 2.8, it is the fastest supersonic cruise missile in the world. It is capable of hot canister launch. Capable of hot canister launch. Again, which we had discussed when we discussed Agni 5. Agni 5, we discussed canister launches. So I told you hot canister launch. BrahMos can be launched from a canister. So it is capable of hot canister launch. It is capable of hot canister launch. And BrahMos is available in two forms. So there is BrahMos with conventional warhead. BrahMos is available in two forms. One with conventional warhead and the other with nuclear warhead. Conventional warhead and nuclear warhead. So India have BrahMos only with conventional warhead. We do not have BrahMos with a nuclear warhead. We have BrahMos only with the conventional warhead. We have BrahMos with conventional warhead only. No nuclear warhead. What is the reason for that? I'll tell you. So we have only BrahMos with conventional warhead and it can be launched from any platform. BrahMos can be fired from any platform. It can be fired from any platform. So land, it can be fired from any platform, say land or air. You can use aircraft like Sukhoi 30 to launch BrahMos, or it can be launched even from ships. It can be launched from floating ships. It can be launched from floating ships like INS Chennai, INS Vikramaditya, etc. INS Chennai, INS Vikramaditya. So it can be launched, BrahMos can be launched from any platform, land, aircraft like Sukhoi 30 and even floating ships like INS Chennai, INS Vikramaditya, etc. And even from if you are launching it from submarines, Scorpion class submarine. If you are firing it from submarine, we'll discuss the type of submarines later. So this can be launched from Scorpion class submarine. So it can be launched from any platform, land, air, floating ship, submarine, etc. Any platform it can be launched, BrahMos. It is a short range supersonic cruise missile. Short range supersonic cruise missile. Two-stage solid propellant. Two-stage solid propellant. It is a fire and forget type missile. Fire and forget type. It means LOBL. Fire and forget type. It is LOBL. Now it is used by Army, Navy and Air Force. So it can be launched from any platforms. So all the three versions are there: Army, Navy, Air Force. All of them use it. Three versions are there: Army, Navy, and Air Force. Now, why we do not have this, what we say, nuclear warhead submarine is because there is something called multilateral export control regimes. Multilateral export control regimes. So have you studied about this in international relations? Multilateral export control regimes? You have studied about them. Okay. So you will be knowing about NSG, Nuclear Supplier Group, MTCR, Wassenaar arrangement and Australia Group. So these are the four multilateral export control regimes, out of which, what concerns us was MTCR. So India was not a member of MTCR. So, countries could not freely do, even India could not freely do missile trade. Now we have become a member of MTCR. In 2016, India became the 35th member of MTCR. So now we have more freedom in the purchase and sale of missiles. So after this, so initially because of MTCR, we had two restrictions. One, Russia could transfer the technology of only conventional warhead. Second was regarding the range and weight of the warhead of the missile. So because India was not part of MTCR, one, we had only conventional warhead, or Russia transferred technology of only conventional warhead, and then the range should have been less than 300 kilometer, and the warhead weight had to be less than 500 kilogram. So these conditions had to be met because India was not a member of MTCR. Now that we have become a member of MTCR, so earlier the range we had for what we say BrahMos was 270 kilometers. Now this has been increased to 450 kilometers. Now the BrahMos we are testing is a 450 kilometer range. Earlier it was 290. But the warhead we have not increased. Earlier we were using 300 kilogram. Even now we are using 300 kilogram. But we are developing BrahMos 2 and 3. This is first generation. First is BrahMos 1, which did not have nuclear warheads. But BrahMos 2 and 3 will be having nuclear warheads. And BrahMos 2 is expected to be hypersonic also. We are developing next versions of BrahMos. Now that we are members of MTCR, we will have more freedom in developing, in selling, buying missiles, etc. So we can just take down. India was not a member of MTCR. India was not a member of MTCR. And hence, we did not have the technology of, nuclear warheads. And hence we did not have the technology of nuclear warheads. The maximum range of BrahMos, India could have, was 300 kilometers, and warhead of 500 kilogram. And warhead of 500 kilogram. India became a member of MTCR. In 2016. After which the range has been increased to 450 kilometers. After which the range has been increased to 450 kilometers. The warhead is still 300 kilograms. Warhead is still 300 kilograms. So BrahMos 1 is an anti-ship missile. BrahMos 1 is an anti-ship missile. So the major target is a ship in BrahMos 1. India is developing BrahMos 2 and BrahMos 3. India is developing BrahMos 2 and BrahMos 3. 500 kilogram is the warhead, but still we were using only 300 kilogram. We can increase the warhead if we want, no problem. Even before signing MTCR, warhead could have been 500 kilograms, but we were testing it with 300 kilograms. Okay, so the water we are using is 300 kilogram. We are not using 500 kilogram. That's all. So we are developing BrahMos 2 and BrahMos 3. BrahMos 2. BrahMos 2 is also called BrahMos Kalam, BrahMos K. BrahMos 2 is also called BrahMos K or BrahMos Kalam. It will be a hypersonic missile. It will be a hypersonic missile. It will be an anti-aircraft missile. Hypersonic missile, it will be anti-aircraft missile, and it will be having nuclear warhead. Hypersonic missile, anti-aircraft missile with nuclear warhead. So this is only in the developmental phase. You have to update yourself. This is only in the development phase. It's only in the development phase. BrahMos 2. It is only in the development phase. And then we have BrahMos 3. BrahMos 3, which is also called next generation BrahMos. BrahMos 3, which is also called next generation BrahMos. It will be a multi-targetable missile. It will be a multi-targetable missile. It will be a multi-targetable missiles means what? It can attack multiple targets simultaneously, just like Agni 5. If you remember, Agni 5 was multiple independent re-entry vehicle. So that means we discussed MIRV, multiple independent re-entry vehicle. It could attack different targets simultaneously. Similarly, BrahMos 3 is going to be a multi-targetable missile. At the same time, it can attack multiple targets, or it is going to be a next generation missile, which is capable of attacking multiple targets simultaneously. Capable of attacking multiple targets simultaneously. And this is only in the planning stage. This is only in the planning stage. This is only in the planning stage. So this is about BrahMos 1, 2 and 3, which is currently BrahMos 1 is cruise missile, supersonic cruise missile. BrahMos 2 is expected to be hypersonic. BrahMos 3 we will have to wait and watch how that will be coming. So this is the first cruise missile, after which we have Nirbhay. Second cruise missile is Nirbhay. So BrahMos we discussed, joint development of India and Russia, capable to perform hot canister launch, can be fired from any platforms. We discussed all this. You can just see the launch. So this is, as you can see, it is launched from a ship and it will destroy another ship. So it is cruise missile, supersonic cruise missile. This is destroying another ship. So it is an anti-ship missile. So this was launched from INS Chennai. Just different pictures of BrahMos. Yes, Rudram 1 we'll discuss. There is an anti-radiation missile. So this is BrahMos. Then next is Nirbhay. Nirbhay. Nirbhay is an indigenous subsonic long range, indigenous long range subsonic cruise missile. Indigenous long range subsonic cruise missile. Indigenous long range subsonic cruise missile. It is capable of carrying both nuclear and conventional warheads. It is capable of carrying both nuclear and conventional warheads, because initially when Nirbhay was designed, it could carry only nuclear warheads. Now we have expanded it to conventional warheads also. So it is carrying both conventional and nuclear warheads. It is carrying both conventional and nuclear warheads. Carrying both conventional and nuclear warheads. Can be fired from any platform. Can be fired from any platform. Can be fired from any platform. So just like BrahMos, it can be fired from land, air, ship, etc. It is a centroidal missile. It is a centroidal missile. It is a centroidal missile. So what is centroidal missile? The trajectory or the pathway will be a mix of ballistic and cruise. We discussed that earlier also. Centroidal missile in Spike, Amoga, etc. I told you what is centroidal. So it will be initially, it will start as ballistic missile, then it will take cruise path. So it is a centroidal missile. It is a terrain hugging missile. Terrain hugging missile. Terrain hugging, or this is also called sea skimming facility. Terrain hugging or sea skimmer. We had before also discussed about sea skimmer missiles. It has terrain hugging nature. Or it is a sea skimmer facility. Terrain hugging or sea skimmer, what is it? It will travel very close to the surface of the earth so that it can avoid detection by radio waves, infrared waves, etc. So this is terrain hugging nature or sea skimmer facility. Terrain hugging or sea skimmer. Terrain hugging or sea skimmer, where the missile will be traveling. Very close to the surface of the earth. Very close to the surface of the earth, so as to avoid detection. Very close to the surface of the earth, so as to avoid detection. It is used by Army, Navy and Air Force. Nirbhay is also used by Army, Navy and Air Force. Nirbhay is used by Army, Navy and Air Force. And Nirbhay has a feature called encirclement. There is a feature of Nirbhay called encirclement. Encirclement. What is encirclement? See, suppose Nirbhay is launched from A, it want to attack B. It will not come and directly attack B. Rather, it will encircle the target for some time. And only when a second command comes, it will attack this, what we say, target. So it is not a ballistic missile. The trajectory will not be like this. So suppose this is A and B. It will be coming like this, and then instead of attacking, it will encircle and then it will attack. Okay, so this is called encirclement, and because of this encirclement, it is called a fearless missile or Nirbhay. The name itself means that it is fearless. It will encircle the target. It can encircle the target before attacking it. Only if a second line of command comes, it will attack it. Okay, and that is why it is called Nirbhay, the name itself. So it is capable of encircling the target. It is capable of encircling the target without immediate attack. And is called a fearless missile. and is called a fearless missile. So again, why we need such a feature is depending on the, again, different purposes will be there. Suppose we are targeting a particular person, and the person is still, yet to come to that spot. It can encircle for some time and then attack. Or you want to attack some radiation source, etc. You can precisely attack that point if you encircle once. I know, identify your precise location, exact the specific target. So there is multiple benefits of just it is not like it will encircle for 10 minutes. It can just encircle and then attack, meaning it can just precisely spot the target and attack rather than, so that will enhance the accuracy of this missiles. So this is the property of encirclement which is there for Nirbhay, which is indigenous subsonic cruise missile of India. So this was used in the border to counter Chinese threat. So it's starting as ballistic, then it will turn cruise. So from this is Nirbhay. So this is the encirclement. As you can see, it is not directly coming and attacking. What it will encircle and then it can attack. So precision, or the attack can be more precise. So this is Nirbhay. And then we have one more cruise missile, which I told you before also. This is the cruise missile of France. I had discussed in the time of My-3. So, My-3 is a mix of two missiles, France Mica and India's Trishul. So, this Mica of France is a cruise missile. Cruise missile which we have imported from France. Mica is a cruise missile which we have imported from France. Cruise missile which we have imported from France. There are three versions of Mica. There are three versions of Mica is there. First one is short range air to air missile. There is short range air to air missile. Then we have medium range surface to air missile. And then long range surface to air missile. There are three versions of Mica: short range, medium range and long range. It is available in all the three versions. Single stage solid propellant, single stage solid propellant, beyond visual range, single stage solid propellant beyond visual range, and it is used by Air Force. This is used by Air Force for Rafale 3A. For Rafale 3A. So Rafale 3A we discussed. It is a 4.5 generation aircraft which we have bought from France. So Mica is getting launched from this Rafale 3A. Rafale 3A. Mica is fired from Rafale 3A. So both are from France. Okay, so these are the cruise missiles. Next topic is anti-ballistic missiles. Anti-ballistic missiles. Next topic is anti-ballistic missile. So again, what is an anti-ballistic missile? We had discussed. So it is a ballistic missile which is used to destroy, intercept. It is able to capture and destroy enemy's ballistic missile. This is called anti-ballistic missile. This we had discussed. Now we will discuss the anti-ballistic missile system of India. Okay. So India have two tiers of anti-ballistic missile system: Prithvi air defense and advanced air defense. We have 2 tiers of anti-ballistic defense system: Prithvi Air Defense, which is called PAD, and Advanced Air Defense. Advanced Air Defense. Prithvi Air Defense and Advanced Air Defense. So Prithvi Air Defense is also called Pradyumna. Prithvi Air Defense is also called Pradyumna, and Advanced Air Defense is also called Ashwin. Prithvi Air Defense is also called Pradyumna, and Advanced Air Defense is called Ashwin. So Prithvi is a two-stage missile. Prithvi, so we discussed Prithvi 2, if you remember, Prithvi 2 is India's first anti-ballistic missile. So we are using it here. So two-stage, it is a two-stage missile, solid plus liquid. Two-stage missile, solid plus liquid. This is single-stage solid. Single-stage solid. Single stage solid. And Prithvi Air Defense is an exo-atmospheric interception. This does exo-atmospheric interception. What is exo-atmospheric? Outside the atmosphere. Okay. So the interception here happens at a height of say around 80 kilometers. Or it happens in outer space. The interception using Prithvi Air Defense happens in the exo-atmosphere. Exo-atmospheric interception at 80 kilometers. And here it is endo-atmospheric. Endo-atmospheric interception at say 30 to 50 kilometers. At 30 to 50 kilometers. Ashwin or Advanced Air Defense does the interception at 30 to 50 kilometers, or it is endo-atmospheric interception. Endo-atmospheric interception. Now both PAD and AAD, Prithvi Air Defense and Advanced Air Defense, uses conventional warheads. Both uses conventional warhead. So there is no nuclear warhead, both uses conventional warhead. Prithvi Air Defense and Advanced Air Defense both uses conventional warhead. And both are short range surface to air anti-ballistic missiles. Prithvi Air Defense and Advanced Air Defense both are short range surface to air anti-ballistic missiles. So even though ballistic missile, it is used for intercepting in the air. Generally ballistic missiles are surface to surface, but only exception can be anti-ballistic because it is doing the interception in the air. Even then, no, it will be a ballistic missile only because if it is not doing interception, it can target something on the ground also. But basically, this is both short range surface to air anti-ballistic missiles, both. And presently, only 4 countries have this anti-ballistic missile capabilities. Okay, only 4 countries have this anti-ballistic missile capabilities. One is USA, second is Russia, third is Israel, and fourth is India. And Israel's anti-ballistic capability is not indigenous. They have developed it along with USA. But all the other 3 countries, this anti-ballistic defense system is indigenous. So Russia's anti-ballistic system is called S-400 Triumph, which we will discuss. And THAAD, Terminal High Altitude Air Defense System, is the anti-ballistic system of USA. And Israel's is called Iron Dome, which they have imported, which have developed with USA. So these systems are all important, and already UPSC in prelims have asked about THAAD. Now THAAD is I think the country's name, or I think THAAD as seen recently is in news, and then 4 options were given. So that was already asked in the prelims. Similarly, S-400 Triumph. India is purchasing S-400 Triumph from Russia. So it is important that we know S-400 Triumph also. We'll discuss all this. So there are only 4 countries which have anti-ballistic system. 4 countries with anti-ballistic system. USA, THAAD. USA, THAAD, THAAD. Terminal High Altitude Air Defense System. USA has THAAD, which is Terminal High Altitude Air Defense System. Then Russia, S-400 Triumph. Russia has S-400 Triumph. Then India has our air defense system, we said, B3 Air Defense and Advanced Air Defense. And then 4th country is Israel. Israel. And you just need to know the name of Israel's air defense system, which is called Iron Dome. Iron Dome. Which is a joint development of Israel and USA. Which is the joint development of Israel and USA. Joint development of Israel and USA. Now, before going to the different types of missile, you should know the components of anti-ballistic missile system. Then we'll come back to the different types. Components of anti-ballistic missile system. Components of anti-ballistic missile system. So obviously the first component will be a missile. So you should have a missile. So we discussed there is B3 air defense, advanced air defense. So first one is a missile. Basic component is a missile. Second is the radar. Second component is radar. What is the purpose of this radar? Radar will intercept the incoming missile has to be intercepted. So radar is used for interception. Radar is used for interception. And India uses a radar called, again we'll discuss radars later, swordfish radar. India uses this radar called swordfish radar. Swordfish radar, which is the longest operating radar of India. Swordfish radar, which is the longest operating radar of India. It can track threat up to 650 kilometers. It can track the threat up to 650 kilometers. Swordfish radar is the longest operating radar of India. It can track the threat up to 650 kilometers. Second component is a radar. Then third is control centers. We have control centers, which is the place where we control all this operation. Control center. We have 2 types of control centers. We have location control center and mission control center. Location control center and mission control center. Called LCC and MCC. LCC and MCC, location control center and mission control center. So what is location control center? It is an integrated computer network. Integrated computer network capable to track the incoming missile. Capable to track the incoming missile with the help of a radar. Capable to track the incoming missile with the help of a radar. And mission control center is an integrated computer network which will fire the missile with either B3 air defense or advanced air defense. Now whichever we are doing, we'll fire it. So mission control center will fire. First the location control center will track the incoming missile, and once it is tracked, the firing will be done by mission control center. So both these are computer integrated centers which will perform this operation. So these are the basic components of anti-ballistic missile system. Now the missile system of Russia called S-400 Triumph, which is very powerful, very capable. S-400 Triumph. Anti-ballistic, we discussed this before this. S-400 Triumph. S-400 Triumph. It belongs to Russia. It belongs to Russia. And it is a multi-targetable. It is a multi-targetable anti-airfield defense system. Multi-targetable anti-airfield defense system. So it is not just targeting one thing. It can target multiple things and it will be launching multiple weapons simultaneously. It is one of the most powerful air defense system in the whole world. It is more powerful than THAAD also. Okay, so this is the most powerful air defense system in the whole world. So it is a multi-targetable anti-airfield defense system. It can protect from any kind of aerial threat. It can protect from any kind of aerial threat. So it can protect from ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, manned aircraft, unmanned aircraft, any aerial threat, S-400 Triumph will be able to protect. It will be able to protect from any kind of aerial threat, ballistic, cruise, manned aircraft, unmanned aircraft, anything. It is capable to protect from any kind of aerial threat, ballistic missile, cruise missile, manned aircraft, unmanned aircraft, etc. Manned aircraft, unmanned aircraft, etc. It can destroy 100 targets simultaneously. It can destroy 100 targets simultaneously. And it can destroy at a height of 400 kilometers. S-400 Triumph can destroy at a height of 400 kilometers and the range is also 400 kilometers. See, at a height of 400 kilometers, it can destroy the missiles or whatever is there, aircraft, whatever, and it can reach up to 400 kilometers. So it can destroy at a height of 400 kilometers and range of 400 kilometers. And interception is possible even in the transition phase. Interception is possible even in the transition phase. So we know the phases. So there is first ascending phase, transition phase, and then there is re-entry phase. So when we come to THAAD, etc., interception is possible only in the re-entry phase. But for S-400, interception can be done even in the transition phase also. Interception is possible even in the transition phase. And how does explosion happen? We are not using any warheads here. Rather, it happens with kinetic bombardment. Kinetic bombardment. Interception happens or the explosion happens via kinetic bombardment. What is kinetic bombardment? No, we are not using any chemicals, but with the power of the motion. So it is coming at high velocity, it will strike something, it will get destroyed. So this is called kinetic bombardment. Kinetic bombardment. There is no chemical warheads. There is no chemical warheads. But destruction happens due to the motion or the movement or the kinetic energy. The destruction happens due to the motion, movement, kinetic energy. So India signed agreement with Russia for S-400 Triumphs. I think we are buying 5 S-400 Triumphs. So we have entered into an agreement with Russia for purchasing S-400 Triumphs. India has entered into an agreement with Russia to purchase S-400 triumphs. Next is THAAD. THAAD. Terminal High Altitude Air Defense System. Terminal High Altitude Air Defense System. So this is the air defense system of USA. Terminal High Altitude Air Defense System belongs to USA. Destruction happen only in the re-entry phase. Destruction happens only in the re-entry phase. Destruction happen only in the re-entry phase. It can destroy only ballistic missiles. It can destroy only ballistic missiles. It can destroy only ballistic missiles. Maximum height is 100 kilometers. Destruction happens at a height of 100 kilometers. Destruction happens at a height of 100 kilometers. And the destruction happens with kinetic bombardment itself. Destruction happens with kinetic bombardment. Destruction happens with kinetic bombardment. So this is Terminal High Altitude Air Defense System, which belongs to USA. Now, what are the problems of India's anti-ballistic missile system? Problems of India's anti-ballistic missile system. Problems of India's anti-ballistic missile system. So the first problem is that currently only two cities are protected, Delhi and Mumbai. So no other cities have this anti-ballistic missile protection. If you take our east coast, there are a lot of strategic centers. We have a satellite launching center at Sriharikota. Our missile launching center is there in the Wheeler Island in Odisha. We have a submarine center at Vishakhapatnam. Nuclear power plants at Kudamkulam and Kalpakam. So there are a lot of strategic centers which is there. And all of them is susceptible to attack. So we have to enhance the security to all these places. It will lead. No, so US has something called CATSA, countering American advisories through Sanctions Act. But India has got a waiver in that. Hope you would have studied that about in international organizations. So US has something called CATSA, where anybody purchases anything from the country and the US country, they will impose sanctions. But India has got a waiver from that. Obviously, US cannot impose sanctions on India. It is not possible because India is one of the major powers supporting US, especially these days. So I don't think sanctions and all will come. But yeah, so there is something called CATSA. You would have studied, countering American adversaries through Sanctions Act. Now, problems. First problem. Protection is given to only to two major cities. Protection is given only to two major cities, Delhi and Mumbai. Delhi and Mumbai. It needs to be upgraded to other cities also. It needs to be upgraded to other cities also. Like Eastern Coast has more strategic centers. Eastern Coast has more strategic centers. Eastern Coast has more strategic centers, like the satellite launching center at Sriharikota. Like the satellite launching center at Sriharikota. Satellite launching center at Sriharikota. Missile launching center in the Wheeler Island. Missile launching center in Wheeler Island, or it is also called Kalam Island. The satellite missile launching center in Wheeler Island, Kalam Island, which is in Odisha. Missile launching center in the Wheeler Island or Kalam Island, which is in Odisha. We have a nuclear submarine strategic center. We have a nuclear submarine strategic center at Visakhapatnam. We have a nuclear submarine strategic center at Visakhapatnam. Nuclear power plants at Kudamkulam and Kalpakam. Nuclear power plants at Kudamkulam and Kalpakam, etc. etc. So hence we need more anti-ballistic missile protection. Hence we need more anti-ballistic missile protection. Hence we need more anti-ballistic missile protection. Now the second problem is that I told you both Prithvi air defense and advanced air defense uses conventional warhead. So we do not have a nuclear warhead ballistic missile defense. So this is the second problem. Second problem is that interception is possible. Interception is possible only with missiles having conventional warheads. Only with missiles having conventional warheads. Only with missiles having conventional warhead. And third problem is that we have only one missile launching center, which is in the Wheeler Island or Kalam Island in Odisha. If the enemy country wants to attack us, first that can be destroyed. If the missile launching facility itself is destroyed, India will not be able to launch missiles again. So we should have backup plans of missile launching centers. It should not be just one center. Okay, so the third problem is only one launching platform. Only one launching platform at Wheeler's Island. Only one launching platform at Wheeler's Island. So currently DRDO is executing. Currently DRDO is executing phase 2 of our ballistic missile defense system. Currently, DRDO is executing phase 2 of our ballistic missile defense system, which is called Prithvi Defense Vehicle, PDV, which is called Prithvi Defense Vehicle, PDV. Prithvi Defense Vehicle, PDV. It is called Prithvi Defense Vehicle, PDV. It can carry both conventional and nuclear warheads. It can carry both conventional and nuclear warheads. Can carry both conventional and nuclear warheads. It is still under development and testing. It is still under development and testing. Still under development and testing. Okay, so these are the problems. So we are already on the phase 2 of our missile defense system. This Prithvi defense vehicle is getting developed, and hopefully we'll have more range, more height. All these things might be there by the time Prithvi defense vehicle come into operation. So this is the anti-ballistic system. So this is one video of S-400 Triumph. S-400 Triumph. So this is one of the largest, anti-ballistic missile systems in the world. So there are multiple missiles which are getting launched, and there is multiple targets can be launched, and this is also a canister launch. This is one of the most powerful air defense systems in the world. S-400 Triumph. Now next is anti-cruise missiles. Anti-cruise missiles. We have discussed about it. You should know that these are anti-cruise missiles like Barak 8, Akash. So Akash, we are developing an alternative to Akash called QRSAM also. Quick response surface to air missiles. Akash is getting replaced. That is also an anti-cruise missile. So Barak 8, Akash, quick response surface to air missile, all of them are anti-cruise missiles. All of them are anti-cruise missiles. Next is our mission Shakti, which is our anti-satellite test. We have an anti-satellite mission, mission Shakti. Anti-satellite mission, mission Shakti. Anti-satellite test, mission Shakti. So mission Shakti, the objective was to destroy a functioning satellite. The objective was to destroy a functioning satellite. Objective was to destroy a functioning satellite in the low Earth orbit. Destroy a functioning satellite in the low Earth orbit by using kinetic energy. By using kinetic energy. DRDO is creating phase 2 of our anti-ballistic missile defense. DRDO is developing phase 2 of our anti-ballistic missile defense system called Prithvi Defense Vehicle, PDV. Prithvi Defense Vehicle, PDV. So mission Shakti is our anti-satellite test. The objective is to destroy a functioning satellite in low Earth orbit by using kinetic capacity. We are using kinetic bombardment. So what are the requirements of mission Shakti? Mission Shakti, the requirements will be, first we need a satellite to destroy, right? When we are trying to destroy a satellite, we should destroy a functioning working satellite. So we destroyed a satellite microsat R. We destroyed the satellite microsat R, which was a low Earth orbit satellite. It was at a distance of 274 kilometers. It was at a distance of 274 kilometers. And this was a defense Earth observation satellite. It was a defense Earth observation satellite. Defense Earth observation satellite. Now second, we need a missile. We need an anti-satellite missile, right? We need an anti-satellite missile. So we used a modified version of PDV. A modified version of PDV, Prithvi Defense Vehicle was used. A modified version of Prithvi Defense Vehicle. So Prithvi Defense Vehicle is the phase 2 of our anti-ballistic missile system. So we already used a modified version of that in the mission Shakti. So this is giving more push to our anti-ballistic system. So we used a modified version of PDV. We used a modified version of PDV. The missile had 2 stages. PDV missile had 2 stages, and the destruction happened. The missile had 2 stages, and the destruction happened due to sudden striking. And the destruction happened due to sudden striking or kinetic bombardment. Sudden striking or kinetic bombardment. So this is the anti-satellite missile we used, modified version of PDV, Prithvi Defense Vehicle. So we destroyed the satellite microsat R using kinetic bombardment. That it will go and strike without any warhead. It will be destroyed due to the motion. And third is the guidance. We have to provide the guidance. So for guidance we used 2 radars. So third is the guidance. For guidance we will use radar obviously. So there were 2 radars which we used. First radar was multiple object tracking radar. Multiple object tracking radar. Multiple object tracking radar. This was the first radar we used. So since it is multiple object tracking radar, it had two functions. First, it was used to guide the missile. It was used to guide the missile, and it was used to monitor the debris. Okay, so when we destroyed this satellite, obviously there will be space debris, right? So this debris has to be monitored. It should not go and collide with some other satellite, or it should not go and collide with something else. So this had to be monitored. So this was also done by this MOTR. So it performed dual functions. One, it guided the missile, and second, it monitored the debris. And then at the same time, we used swordfish radar also. So swordfish radar. So this was India's, it is India's longest operating radar. So we used this, it could get even up to 650 kilometers. We destroyed only something at 274 kilometers. So we used swordfish radar also for guidance. We used swordfish radar also for guidance. So this is the mission Shakti. Now what is the significance of mission Shakti? What is the significance of mission Shakti? So first significance is it opened the doors for phase 2 of ballistic missile defense PDV. It opened the doors for phase 2 of ballistic missile defense PDV. It opened the doors for phase 2 of ballistic missile defense PDV. So we actually could test PDV in another form. It is a modified version, but still we use PDV. Second, it was an indigenously developed technology. It was an indigenously developed technology. Indigenously developed technology, jointly developed by ISRO and DRDO. So whatever the technology we used, it was indigenously developed by ISRO and DRDO. Joint development of ISRO and DRDO. Third significance. So there are only 3 other countries which have this anti-satellite missile defense system. Obviously, one is USA, second is Russia, third is China, fourth is India. So we are the 4th country to have this anti-satellite defense system. So we entered this elite superpower club. We entered the elite superpower club. Of countries with anti-satellite missile system. Along with USA, Russia and China. We entered the elite superpower club of countries with anti-satellite missile system along with USA, Russia and China. Now the fourth significance is see, basically in wars, instead of destroying a particular place, people in that region, it is always ethical to destroy the infrastructure. So as I told, if any countries want to attack us, destroy our missile launching center so that we will be crippled. Similarly, one way to attack the enemy is destroying the satellites. So when the satellites are destroyed, suppose you are destroying a communication satellite, the entire communication system of the enemy country will be down. So they will not be even be able to give instructions to the armed forces. So this is a more ethical way of doing wars, where infrastructure will be crippled. So rather than destroying life, destroy infrastructure like communication satellites. So this is the fourth point. It can cripple enemy's infrastructure. Rather than destroying life. It can cripple enemy's infrastructure like communication satellite. rather than destroying life, rather than destroying life, which is more ethical warfare, which is more ethical warfare, which is more ethical warfare. Now, fifth point is that it will be a credible deterrence against threats. It will be a credible deterrence it will be a credible deterrence against threats. It will be a credible deterrence against us. See, what is this credible deterrence? See, a country knows that we are having anti-satellite missile. So they will not easily attack us because they know that if we go into war, we can destroy their satellites and cripple. It is not just for anti-satellite missile. All the major missiles we are having, starting from Agni 5 to BrahMos to Barak 8. So the more powerful weapons we are having, the more will be our deterrence. So in 1961 war, we started investing more in this defense after the 1961 war when we lost to China. Till then, Nehru was a peace lover and he said, no, we need not invest much in defense. Let us invest on rest of the things, which was true also. But in 1961 war, we lost. Now in 2018 or I think 18 or 19, whenever this Doklam issue happened, 19 I guess. So China did not pull back, just like that. China knew that India was not a country like 1961, and we have powerful weapons. Even we have weapons which even China don't have. Okay, so this India is a strong country in defense perspective, and this is one of the answers to the classic question of why we have to spend so much money on defense. Why can't we spend the same on health and education? So it is not possible for a country to spend less on defense, because if India was not strong enough, already China would have taken all of Arunachal Pradesh, or Kashmir would have been with Pakistan or China, whatever, they could have taken it. Now they will not take it because they know that India has weapons, and that too, good weapons. So all these weapons which gives India a strategic edge are called strategic weapons. It will push India to the high tables. So whenever a situation of war happens, countries will think twice. So if if the country do not have a weapon, it can be another Iraq, another Afghanistan, or any other country. USA attacked all these countries knowing that they do not have weapons. If they knew that they will attack back, they would not have. They will never dare to attack North Korea, because it is kind of sure that if they attack North Korea, US will be destroyed back. Similarly, they hesitate. They are hesitant to attack Iran, fearing that Iran has weapons. Okay, so else Iran will be given support by maybe China, and China can go and attack US. So it is all connected. But whatever is the reason, this is a credible deterrence. This is the meaning of credible deterrence. It is a credible deterrence against threats. It is a credible deterrence against threats. And we can safeguard our own space assets. And we can safeguard our own space assets. We can safeguard our own space assets. See, it is one of the reasons that countries are not getting attacked. Myanmar, international pressure is another thing. We cannot simply go and attack one country. So when Myanmar is attacked, obviously India is there, China is there, all these countries are there to back up. So it is not easy to go and simply attack another country. Anyway, the sixth significance is it opens door for spin-off technology. Spin-off technology. See, what is spin-off technology? To destroy a satellite, what we are using? We are using this tracking and destroy technique. We are tracking the satellite and destroying it, right? So similar technology we can use in medical field. For targeted drug delivery, we can exactly find the location of this, whatever is there in our body and destroy it. This is called targeted drug delivery. At the exact point you are delivering the drug, rather than eating a pill, which will spread throughout our blood, we can exactly deliver the target to the point. So this is, this technology is similar to destroying a satellite. So it can lead to spin-off technology using the track and destroy technique. Using the track and destroy technique, like in targeted drug delivery in medical field, like targeted drug delivery in the medical field, like targeted drug delivery in the medical field. And the last significance is that seventh one, India's role is important for future international laws. India's role is important for future international laws. India's role is important for future international laws. See, when these countries made all these nuclear laws, be it non-proliferation treaty, CTBT, etc. Uh, See, non-proliferation treaty, CTBT, etc. India was not consulted. India was not properly consulted because they said India do not have nuclear weapons. Now India has, anti-satellite. Already we have launched an anti-satellite, and they know that we have anti-satellite. So if at all a future law has to be made, we have to be consulted. So this is another advantage. India's role is important for future international laws. Now, government of India has created a new agency. Government of India has created a new agency called Defense Space Research Organization. Defense Space Research Organization, which will conduct the future tests. India has created a Defense Space Research Organization. Defense Space Research Organization to conduct the future anti-satellite missions. Currently, it was done by DRDO, ISRO together. Now we have created a new agency called Defense Space Research Organization, which will conduct the future anti-satellite tests. Which will conduct the future anti-satellite tests. Which will conduct the future anti-satellite tests. So this is regarding anti-satellite test. Next we will discuss I'll just show you the video also. So this is just the test of that. That's it. Now we are just sending this anti-satellite missile, B3 air defense modified version. So it is destroying the satellite, microsat R in the space. We destroyed that using this missile, fully developed by Indian scientists. So I'll give you a break now. After the break, we'll discuss our anti-radiation missile Rudram 1. Next topic we'll be discussing is anti-radiation missile Rudram 1. Can take a 5-minute break. So we'll start with anti-radiation missile. See, centroidal missile and blending aeronautical design both are same. Centroidal blending aeronautical design both is same. It means that the pathway of the missile will be blending. So initially it will be ballistic, then it will move like a cruise missile. So this is called centroidal missile or blending aeronautical missile. So next is anti-radiation missile, which was called Rudram 1. Our anti-radiation missile was called Rudram 1. So from the as suggested in the name or from the name itself, we'll understand what is anti-radiation. It is a missile which will track the radiation. So detect, track and neutralize enemies radiation. So radar, their communication assets, radio frequency sources will be tracked and destroyed. So this is anti-radiation missile. Designed to attack, designed to detect, track and neutralize, designed to detect, track and neutralize adversaries radar, communication assets and other radio frequency sources. Communication assets and other radio frequency sources. And other radio frequency sources. It will locate and target. Any radiation emitting source. It will locate and target any radiation emitting source. So there are two basic purposes of uses of Rudram or anti-radiation missile. So there are two purposes. First purpose is that we can carry out offensive attacks. So again, maybe you would have studied in internal security. There are two types of attacks: offensive attack and defensive attack. So defensive attack is when we are attacked, we defend ourselves. This is defensive, or we try to protect ourselves by we try to defend ourselves by attacking. So this is defensive. Offensive is we go into their territory and attack. This is called offensive attack. So how this offensive attack is possible? Because we can take out their radar stations. So once their radar stations are taken out, it is easy for us to attack them, right? It is easy for us to attack them once their radar stations are taken out. So the first use or benefit of this anti-radiation missile, first, offensive attacks can be carried out, or we can carry out offensive attacks by taking out the radar stations. To prevent our systems from being jammed. Prevent our systems from being jammed. By neutralizing their jamming sources. By neutralizing their jamming platforms. So there can be jammers which will neutralize our signals. So our missile is going, it will have a radar. So this radar will be neutralized. So once the radar is neutralized, radar will not be able to attack any particular point, right? So first the jamming sources will be destroyed. Like example is mobile jammer. If a mobile jammer is kept in this classroom, no mobiles in this classroom will have network. So we are jamming the waves, radio waves, or the signals will be jammed. Similarly, satellites and all radio signals, etc., can be jammed using jammers in missiles. So once these jammers are destroyed, our satellites will function properly. So it will prevent our systems from being jammed. By neutralizing any jamming platform. Now, what are the major components? So obviously there will be a missile that will be there. An anti-radiation missile should be there. And apart from that, we have a guidance system. So we have a navigation system, INS, inertial navigation system. Inertial navigation system, which we have already described, which you have already discussed. What is an inertial navigation system? Computer, rotation sensor, motion sensor, etc. This is inertia in Agni, if you remember. In Agni 5, we discussed about RINs, Agni 4 onwards. Ring, laser, gyroscope, inertial navigation system. So here also we use inertial navigation system. Inertial navigation system, which uses computer, motion sensors, which are called accelerometers, motion sensors called accelerometers, rotation sensors called gyroscopes, etc. So this is the inertial navigation system. Then it has a passive homing head. It has a passive homing, HOMING. It has a passive homing head for guidance. Passive homing head. Passive homing head is a system that can detect classify and engage targets So what is our target here? Radio frequency source. So it can detect, classify and engage targets, that is radio frequency source, over a wide range of frequencies as programmed. So this is passive homing head. So we have a head which will guide this missile exactly to the target. This is a passive homing head. So the missile we use here, as I told you, there is a missile. It will be an air to surface missile. We will use an air to surface missile. The missile is an air to surface missile. And it can be launched from an altitude of 500 meter to 15 kilometer. 500 meter to 15 kilometer. 500 meter to 15 kilometer. It is integrated with Sukhoi 30 MKI. It is integrated because it is launched from air. It is integrated with Sukhoi 30. It has a Mach of 0.622. The Mach of the missile is 0.622. Mach is 0.622. And the missile will be having both LOAL and LOBL. Both options are there. LOAL and LOBL. We can lock on before launch, or you can lock on after launch also. And regarding the capability of this Rudram, so once the target is fixed, or once we locks the target, even after the radiation source is switched off, it will strike the target accurately. So this capability is there, that even if the radiation source is switched off, after locking the target, we will strike the target accurately. So once missile locks on the target, it is capable of striking accurately. Even if the radiation source is switched off. It is capable of striking accurately even if the radiation source is switched off. Even if the radiation source is switched off. And it will enhance India's seed, SCAD, seed capability. It will enhance India's seed capability. What is seed? Suppression of enemy's air defense. Suppression of enemy's air defense. It will enhance India's seed capability, suppression of enemy air defense capability. Suppression of enemy air defense capability will be enhanced. Suppression of enemy air defense and capability will be enhanced. So this is the anti-radiation missile or Rudram which we launched last year. So this is just that launch of the missile which you can see. So it is launched from Sukhoi 30. It is launched from air, and it will destroy radiation source on the ground. That's all. So it is air to surface missile which is launched, trying to destroy radiation source. So from Sukhoi 30 we are launching it. This was a missile which we used. Okay. Now we are done with the striking system. Next we will move towards patrolling system. So the first part of this topic is over. We will move towards patrolling system. Patrolling system. So in patrolling system, we have to discuss the patrolling system, of the Navy, the Army, Air Force. We already discussed the different classification of aircrafts. So we'll start this from Navy. Okay. So Navy, there are three types of Navy. There is blue water Navy, green water Navy, and brown water Navy. There are three types of countries' navies can be classified into blue water, green water, and brown water. Blue water, green water, and brown water. So a country's navy will be called a blue water navy. A country's navy will be called a blue water navy if it is capable to execute. If it is capable to execute all the major operation in deep ocean water. All the major operation in deep ocean water. All the major operation in deep ocean water. So deep ocean is beyond 200-meter depth. If the water is beyond 200-meter depth, it is called deep ocean water. Now, a country's navy will be called green water navy. A country's navy will be called green water navy if it is capable of executing all its operation in shallow water. If it is capable of executing all its operation in shallow water. It is capable of operating all its, if it is capable of executing all its operation in shallow water. That is less than 200 meter. Less than 200 meter. And a country's navy will be called brown water navy. A country's navy will be called brown water navy if they can carry out their operations in territorial water. if they can carry out their operations in territorial water. If they can carry out their operations in territorial water. So there are two things which classify it as a territorial water. So when can we call a water body as territorial water? First one is that it should share its boundary with land, or one of the boundary of the water region will be land. One of the boundary of the water region will be land. One of the boundary of the water body will be land, or there will be inflow of lake water or river water. There will be inflow of lake water or river water. Then also it will be called territorial water. And in both these cases, if the Navy is able to operate in that region, it will be called, if the Navy is able to territorial water, it will be called brown water Navy. So there are three types of Navy. Blue water Navy, where the Navy will be able to operate in deep oceans. So deep ocean meaning depth of 200 meter and beyond. So if the water body has a depth of 200 meter and beyond, it will be called blue water Navy. If it is capable of performing in shallow waters, that is depth is 200 meters and less, it will be called green water Navy. And if it is capable of performing in territorial waters, it is called brown water Navy. Now India has both blue water and green water Navy. The question is where India is a blue water Navy country. India is a blue water Navy country. So to satisfy this blue water Navy, there are certain conditions which should be satisfied. Okay, for a country to become blue water Navy, there are certain conditions which should be satisfied. So we'll go through these conditions one by one. So as we go along with these conditions, we'll discuss the patrolling system in the Navy. Okay, so the first conditions to be satisfied is that we should have one aircraft carrier. So the first condition is country need to have one aircraft carrier. One aircraft carrier. Today we discussed about aircraft carrier. So does India have an aircraft carrier? Yes. So what is an aircraft carrier? Aircraft carrier is a floating ship. Aircraft carrier is a floating ship where an aircraft can take off and land. Aircraft carrier is a floating ship where an aircraft can take off and land. Where an aircraft can take off and land. So what is the name of India's aircraft carrier? INS Vikramaditya. So we have an aircraft carrier INS Vikramaditya, which is imported from Russia. This is not our own. This is not indigenous. We have imported this INS Vikramaditya from Russia. Imported from Russia. So it can even launch cruise missiles. We have discussed this. BrahMos can be launched from INS Vikramaditya, etc. We have discussed. It can launch even cruise missile. So in 2005, we had actually three aircraft carriers. So we had INS Vikrant. We had INS Vikrant, we had INS Virat, and we had INS Vikramaditya. So we had three aircraft carriers in 2005. But now this first two are decommissioned. We are no longer using it. We have decommissioned it. And currently we have only one aircraft carrier, which is INS Vikramaditya. Currently we are having only one aircraft carrier, which is INS Vikramaditya. And we are developing our own indigenous aircraft called INS Vishal. We are developing INS Vishal, which will be India's indigenous aircraft carrier, which will be India's first indigenous aircraft carrier, which is under development, under construction in Kochi. Which is under construction in Kochi. Which is under construction in Kochi. And this is going to be India's first indigenous aircraft carrier. Along with this, we are developing new variants of INS Vikrant also. So a new variant of INS Vikrant is coming. They are planning to test it and commission it. So anyway, we are satisfied the first condition where we should have one aircraft carrier. This is satisfied. Second is that we should have nuclear submarines. So second is nuclear. So this is the INS Vikramaditya, the photo of INS Vikramaditya. It has a capacity of 34 aircrafts. Okay, like 24 MiG aircraft and 10 helicopters can be, can land on INS Vikramaditya simultaneously. Length, weight, and all is not relevant. They will not ask us. So this is an aircraft carrier India is having, INS Vikramaditya. Next is submarines. Submarines. Whether we have a nuclear submarine or not is the question. So before going to the nuclear submarine, we will discuss the different generations of submarines. Different generations of submarines. There are basically 5 generations of submarines. The first generation is called SSV. First generation is called SSV. Submarine ship vapor power. Submarine ship vapor power. First generation is submarine ship vapor power. It uses water vapor. It uses water vapor for powering. It uses water vapor for powering. It's completely outdated and no country is using it. Completely outdated and no country is using it. First generation, SSV. And second generation is SSK. Second generation is SSK. Submarine ship diesel power. Submarine ship diesel power. Second generation is submarine ship diesel power. Now the problem with second generation is that since it uses diesel power, it has to come to the surface. Why? Because for diesel engines to operate, we need atmospheric oxygen. So it, in between it has to come to air to get the oxygen and it will go down. So this process is there. So when it comes to the surface, it can be easy of second generation. So it needs atmospheric oxygen. Second generation, it needs atmospheric oxygen for diesel combustion. It needs atmospheric oxygen for diesel combustion and have to come outside. And have to come outside where it can be tracked by the enemies. Where it can be tracked by the enemies. It needs to come outside and hence it can be tracked by the enemies. So India does not have our own second generation, but we have imported second generation submarine called Sindhu Ghosh class. We have 2 classes of second generation. Second generation, there is 2 classes. First one is Sindhu Ghosh class. Sindhu Ghosh class submarines. And the other is called Shishumar. INS Shishumar. Sindhu Ghosh class and INS Shishumar. So Sindhu Ghosh class we obtained from Russia. Sindhu Ghosh class we obtained from Russia. And originally there was 10 submarines in the Sindhu Ghosh class. Now 9 is there. We have 9 submarines in Sindhu Ghosh class. 9 submarines. So all these submarines have prefix Sindhu. All the submarines have prefix Sindhu. Like Sindhu Chakra, Sindhu Chakra, Sindhu Prahar, Sindhu Chakra, Sindhu Prahar. So all this is, the Sindhu class, Sindhu Ghosh class. So wherever you hear this Sindhu suffix, prefix, you understand that this is a submarine of Sindhu Ghosh class, which we have imported from Russia, and it is a second generation submarine, which operates from diesel power. Now INS Shishumar INS Shishumar we obtained from Germany. We obtained from Germany. And second generation submarines can launch torpedoes. Second generation can launch torpedoes. Second generation can launch torpedoes. So we have our own indigenous torpedo called, what is the name? Varunastra. So we have our own indigenous torpedo. Varunastra. So this was also a prelims question. Now I think Varunastra is 4 options were given. They asked the name of Varunastra in prelims once. So Varunastra is our indigenous torpedo. Indigenous torpedo. It can be launched from air or water. It is not mandatory that it should be launched from submarine itself. It can be launched even from air, but it will operate only underwater. It can be launched from air or water. It can be launched from air or water, but operation will be only underwater. But operation will be only underwater. And it is the only torpedo in the world. Only torpedo in the world to have GPS for navigation. Only torpedo in the world to have GPS for navigation. Only torpedo in the world which have GPS for navigation. So Varunastra or torpedo can be launched from second generation. So this is about second generation missile submarines. Now third is third generation. Next is third generation submarines. Third generation. So this is INS Sindhu Ghosh class. Now the submarine, you can see, as you can see, it need to come outside to take what we say, air, oxygen. Next is third generation. Third generation, which is also, which is called SSK1. SSK1. SSK1, which is submarine ship diesel power. Submarine ship diesel power with AIP technology. With AIP technology. What is AIP? Air independent propulsion. AIP is air independent propulsion. Air independent propulsion. Air independent propulsion, AIP, submarine ship diesel power, air independent technology. So here, no, the submarine need not come to the surface to get the oxygen. Rather, there is an inbuilt hydrogen peroxide and nitric acid which will which will react inside this submarine, and oxygen will be produced. So we have an inbuilt hydrogen peroxide, nitric acid inside the submarine which will react and produce oxygen. So because oxygen is available in the submarine itself, it need not come out to the surface. So when it need not come out to the surface, that automatically means it will not be visible to the enemies. So this is a kind of stealth technology or stealth feature which we discussed again in the beginning. In when we discussed aircrafts, we had discussed about stealth, which is low observable technology. Okay, technology which cannot be detected by enemies is called low observable technology, stealth technology. So this is also a stealth technology, air independent propulsion. So third generation is submarine ship diesel power AIP technology. AIP is air independent propulsion. Air independent propulsion. Air independent propulsion, where the combustion of diesel will be done, with inbuilt hydrogen peroxide and nitric acid. With inbuilt hydrogen peroxide and nitric acid. With inbuilt hydrogen peroxide and nitric acid. So it is a stealth technology. It is a stealth technology. As the missile will not be visible, as the missile will not be visible, as it does not have to come to the surface. As the missile will not be visible, as it does not have to come to the surface. Missile will not be visible as it does not have to come to the surface. So we have third generation missile called Scorpion class submarines. So this Scorpion class submarines is example of third generation missile, Scorpion class submarine. It is a joint development of India, France, and Spain. It is a joint development of India, France, and Spain. Joint development of India, France, and Spain. We are developing Scorpion submarines under. We are developing Scorpion submarines under Project 75I. We are developing Scorpion submarines under Project 75I. We are developing Scorpion submarines under Project 75I, which has two phases. So there is phase 1 and phase 2 for this. Phase 1 and phase 2 for this. So in phase 1, we have 3 submarines, which is INS Kalvari, Khanderi, and Karanch. Kalvari, Khanderi, and Karanch, which are the submarines under Scorpion class in phase 1. And in phase 2, we have Vela, Wagir, and Wakshir. Vela, Wagir, and Wakshir. Vela, Wagir, and Wakshir. So already we have commissioned Kalvari and Khanderi. These two has already been commissioned. Kalvari and Khanderi is already been commissioned. And Karanj is in the last phase of sea trial. Karanj is in the last phase of sea trial. And others are in different phases of trial, development, etc. So other phase 2, we have just commenced. This Vela has just commenced sea trials, etc. So we have already commissioned Kalvari and Khanderi. We have already commissioned Kalvari and Khanderi. So this is Scorpion class submarines. This is the video of a Khanderi.
So this is the old Khanderi.
Old Khanderi. And then this is the new Khanderi. So stealth is air independent propulsion. So Karanch is in the last phase of sea trials. Next is fourth generation. Fourth generation. Fourth generation is SSN. Fourth generation is SSN. Submarine ship nuclear power. Submarine ship nuclear power. Fourth generation is submarine ship nuclear power. So it will be powered by nuclear energy. So fourth generation, and India has a submarine, fourth generation submarine called Chakra. So we have a fourth generation submarine called Chakra, which we actually obtained from Russia. Okay. Third generation, one more point is there. Third generation can also launch torpedoes. This third generation can also launch torpedoes. The Scorpion class we are having can launch torpedoes. Now fourth generation is Chakra, which we obtained on lease, from Russia. And after purchase only we understood that it does not have any weapon launching capacity. The submarine does not have any weapon launching capacity and it cannot launch any torpedoes. This we understood only after buying. So we have been negotiating with France from Russia for technology transfer, etc., so that we can build torpedo capacity to this. Meanwhile, it met with an accident and the complete front portion got destroyed of this Chakra. And again, Russia was demanding some $100 billion more for replacing the front portions, etc. Anyway, currently it is not in use because it has been damaged in a accident. Currently it is not in use, and it does not have the capability to launch any weapons. It cannot handle any weapons. It is a non-torpedo missile. So Chakra does not have the capacity. Chakra does not have the capacity to launch weapons. Chakra does not have the capacity to launch weapons. And it is a non-torpedo missile. It is a non-torpedo missile. And the last generation is called SSBN. SSBN, submarine ship, ballistic launchable nuclear power. Submarine ship, ballistic launchable nuclear power. So we can launch ballistic missiles from the fifth generation. Okay, we can launch ballistic missiles from the fifth generation. So we have our own indigenous fifth generation submarines called Arihant class. So this Arihant class submarines is India's own fifth generation submarine. So it is submarine ship, ballistic launchable nuclear power. It can handle SLBMs. So India has our own indigenous Arihant class submarines. We have our own indigenous Arihant class submarines. So there are 4 submarines under Arihant class. First one is called Arihant itself. Arihant. Then we have Aridhman or Arighat. So second is Aridhman or Arighat. And third is called S3. And fourth is called S4. S3 and S4. So these are the different types of submarines in the Arihant class. And when we discussed submarine launch ballistic missiles, Sagariga, etc., all of them can be launched from this fifth generation submarines. They can fire torpedoes. It can launch SLBMs like K-15, Sagariga, the same. It can launch SLBMs like Sagariga and fire torpedoes. and fire torpedoes. Arihant class submarines satisfies the nuclear triad status for India. It satisfies the nuclear triad status for India. It satisfies the nuclear triad status for India. Nuclear triad is a three-sided military force structure. A three-sided military force structure with land-launched nuclear missiles, submarine-launched nuclear missiles, and aircraft-launched nuclear missiles and bombs. So land-launched nuclear missiles should be there, submarine-launched nuclear missiles should be there, and aircraft-launched nuclear missiles or bombs should be there. So with this Arihant, we satisfy all the three conditions. Now we have all the three, and it satisfies the nuclear triad status. So India has this nuclear triad status, and only very few countries in the world have this nuclear triad status. I think the P5, the permanent five of UN, like US, France, Britain, China, Russia, and I think Israel also recently got this nuclear triad status. And India is the sixth country, and after that I think Israel. 7 countries only have this nuclear triad status. So all the P5 countries have this nuclear triad status. After that, it is India and Israel which have got this status. So only very few countries have this nuclear triad status. So with this, we have discussed the Arihant class submarines, and so the second point, so nothing much is here. This is just the one photo they are showing of Arihant class submarine, and we have much news about Arihant class submarine also now, where it is, what I think it has been into the docked somewhere, saying that it has some repair. We don't know exactly the details of Arihant submarine now, where it is. So anyhow, this is the Arihant class submarine, and with this, like the conditions for blue water navy, the second condition also we have nuclear submarines. Now third condition is that we should have large warships for long endurance. Okay, we should have, see, not submarines can be used for multiple purposes. Even it can go and it can, the underwater observation, surveillance, all these things can be done with submarines. It can have radars, it can have sonars. So multiple purpose can be done by using a submarine. It need not be always defense weapon launching systems, submarines. So multiple underwater purposes can be obtained with a submarine. Okay. So so second condition is also satisfied. Now third condition is large warships for long endurance. Large warships for long endurance. So this also, let us see which are our large warships. So our warships can be classified into 3. First one is called destroyers. The warship first category is called destroyers, which is large warships capable to operate in deep water. Large warships capable to operate in deep water. Large warships capable to operate in deep water. The weight of destroyer is 5,000 to 7,500 tons. Weight of destroyer is 5,000 to 7,500 tons. So this is the 4 types of destroyers we are having: Kolkata class, Delhi class, Rajput class, and Visakhapatnam class. Kolkata, Delhi, Rajput and Visakhapatnam class is the different types of destroyers India is having. Different types of destroyers India is having. So all of them are named after like major cities. And no, we have recently inducted this INS Chennai into the Kolkata class. So Kolkata classes, INS Kolkata, INS Kochi, INS Chennai, all these are under Kolkata class. So Kolkata class, each class have different ships. Kolkata class has 3 major ships: INS Kolkata, INS Kochi, and INS Chennai. INS Chennai. And the Visakhapatnam class has INS Imphal. Visakhapatnam class has INS Imphal. So this INS Imphal and INS Chennai, both of them have stealth guided missile. Stealth guided missile. Both of them have stealth guided missile. They are both stealth guided missile destroyer ship. 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 That is, they can destroy stealth guided missiles. They can destroy stealth guided missiles, and they have the presence of BrahMos, Barak 8, etc. I told you they have the presence of BrahMos, Barak 8, etc. They can destroy stealth guided missiles. So this is the first category of what we say long endurance ships. Second is frigates. Frigates. So frigates, we have 4 classes: Godavari class, Brahmaputra class, Shivalik class, and Nilgiri class. Godavari, Brahmaputra, Shivalik, and Nilgiri class. So named after major rivers and mountains, as you can see. So the weight, it can operate in shallow waters. Frigates can operate in shallow waters. It can operate in shallow waters. It can operate in shallow waters. And the weight is approximately between 2,500 and 5,000 tons. Weight is between 2,500 and 5,000 tons. Weight is between 2,500 and 5,000 tons. And the last of our warships is corvettes. Corvettes, which are small sized warships. Which are small sized warships. Small sized warships capable to operate in shallow as well as territorial waters. Shallow as well as territorial waters. Shallow as well as territorial waters. The weight is 750 to 2,500 tons. 750 to 2,500 tons. And this is all names of corvettes we are having. Kora class, Kamarorta class, Kukri class, Abhay class, Veer class. These are all names of the corvettes we are having. Names of corvettes we are having. Kora, Kamrota, Kukri, Abhay and Veer. So recently, So recently, a ship called INS Kavaratti was, inducted under this Kamrota class. So recently, this INS Kavaratti. So if at all anything new is inducted into these classes, keep a note of that. So INS Kavaratti. So recently, INS Kavaratti was inducted into the Kamrota class. INS Kavaratti was inducted into the Kamrota class. So this is video of the Kamrota class. This is INS, what we say, Kavaratti getting commissioned. So INS Kavaratti is a part of this Kamrota class. So this is INS Kavaratti. So INS Kavaratti. So the third condition is also satisfied. If we look into the Blue Water Navy, the third condition says that we should have large warships for long endurance. That is also there. Now the fourth condition is we should have larger replenishment support ships. We should have larger replenishment support ships. We have the replenishment support ships. So we have oil refilling ships. We have oil refilling ships like INS Jyoti and INS Manohar. We have oil refilling ships like INS Jyoti and INS Manohar. And then we have cargo ships like P61I. We have cargo ships like P61I, P61A, etc. These are examples of replenishment support ships. Replenishment support ships. Then the fifth condition is overseas ports, bases, berthing rights. Overseas ports, bases, berthing rights. That also we have. We have ports, or base or berthing right in Chabahar. Chabahar port India is developing. Similarly, we have bases or berthing right in Seychelles, Mauritius, Maldives, Oman, Vietnam, etc. Oman, Vietnam, etc. Seychelles, Mauritius, Maldives, Oman, Vietnam, etc. So this condition is also satisfied. Now the last condition says country need to have a large amphibious ship. It need to have large amphibious ship. So what is an amphibious ship? Amphibious ship is ship which will come close to the surface, moves away from the surface, and it will carry large number of infantry troops. Generally, people who fight from ground is called infantry, and this will carry large number of infantry troops. So that is why it is called an amphibious ship. Amphibious ship will have more number of infantry troops. It will have more number of infantry troops. And it performs beaching and unbeaching. It performs beaching and unbeaching. So beaching is coming close to the shore, unbeaching is moving away from the shore. Beaching is coming close to the shore and unbeaching is moving away from the shore. It performs beaching and unbeaching operations. Beaching is coming close to the shore and unbeaching is moving away from the shore. So India has obtained one amphibious ship from US called INS Jalashwa. So we have obtained one amphibious ship from US called INS Jalashwa. India has obtained an amphibious ship called INS Jalashwa from US. But if we want to use it, we should obtain a no objection certificate from US. But we need an NOC from US. But we need an NOC from US to use it. But we need an NOC from US to use it. And technically, we do not have an amphibious ship. Technically, we do not have an amphibious ship. And hence India is not a blue water navy country. Hence India is not a blue water navy country. We are trying to develop our own amphibious ships. And once we develop an amphibious ships, we will be a blue water navy country. Currently, we are not a blue water navy country. Only 5 countries in the world have blue water navy status. 5 countries have blue water navy: US, Russia, UK, France, and Japan. These are the 5 countries in the world having blue water navy status. Blue water: UK, Russia, UK, France, and Japan. These are the 5 countries having blue water navy status. So we have discussed, we have covered the entire patrolling system of Navy with this blue water Navy topic status. To next class, we'll start from military tanks. Next class, we'll start from military tanks. So you want show slide of condition 4. You mean the written thing? Replenishment ships, right? Cargo ships P61I and P61A. Cargo ships P61I and P61A. So any other doubts? If it's there, you can ask. Else we'll meet in the next class. I think Wednesday we are having a class, right? So Wednesday will be most probably finishing defense. Yes, India is a green and brown water navy. We are green and brown water. That blue water, we do not have an amphibious ship. So this is the condition under which America sold this this amphibious ship to us. That if we want to use it, we should get an NOC from US. So this is the condition under which we obtained it, and we have to get it. So Jalashwa, we need an NOC. Any other doubts? Fifth condition, what is the fifth condition? See, fifth condition says that we should have overseas ports, bases, and berthing rights. We do have a port in Chabahar. We have berthing rights in countries like Mauritius, Seychelles, etc. So that condition is satisfied. So we have a lot of berthing rights, or we have bases in Maldives, Mauritius, Oman, Vietnam. So that condition is satisfied. And the last condition is amphibious ship. So amphibious ship is a ship which can carry infantry troops. That is, people who are fighting from the land, they will be carried in the ship at the time of war, etc. This is amphibious, or ships which are capable to carry the infantry troop. This is called amphibious ship. And even though India has one amphibious ship which is obtained from US called Jalashwa, technically we should get an NOC from US to use it. So that means India does not satisfy the sixth condition, and we are not a blue water navy country. So this is the fifth and sixth conditions. Okay. So with that, we'll wind up today's class. I'll meet you in the next class. Thank you.